Hey guys, Seán here, and an unusual day to drop the episode of Any Given Runday. It's a bonus episode of the podcast dropping on a Thursday, and the reason for this bonus episode was if we listen to episode 8 of the podcast, at the very end of it, we cut off the mic, we're done, we're talking about rest and recovery, and Aaron was pretty much like, I don't really believe those last couple of minutes, and by those last couple of minutes he meant pretty much most of the show. And myself and Eric got fairly annoyed. We have the video of our actual reactions on our Instagram page where you can see I get visibly annoyed with him, and I'm like, man, that's why we're doing the podcast. I mean, there's the four of us that have four different opinions on how to run how to run a marathon with our own different backgrounds and stuff, and the idea behind it is to have all these different opinions. And especially with that episode, there was no one right or wrong way. Like, we even put up a poll afterwards on our Instagram page on Monday, and we just had all different, foam rolling, sauna, cold showers, and whether you believed them or used them yourself, and there was not one of them that had like 100% all in on it. Now, I think foam rolling was like the highest at 80-something%, but there was other stuff that I would swear by, like saunas, and people were unsure about them, and a lot of people were like no in the cold showers. And I think because it's absolutely freezing out right now, I can see why a lot of people said no in cold showers as well. But my point is, we had all these different opinions. So what we did in this episode, unlike most episodes, we have some sort of preparation and idea where we're going in the next 20 minutes. We just hit the record button and just went on a rant with this one, talking to Aaron and why he didn't believe certain things that were said. And look, more power to him. He's entitled to his opinion. I'm glad he actually just came out and said it rather than just holding it in. And the same as pretty much anything in life. Just, you have your opinion. It is what it is. And he has it because he hasn't done any marathons, he hasn't used any of the products we talked about, so he's like, that just doesn't resonate with me. And I'm sure if it didn't resonate with him, it probably didn't resonate with a lot of you. So right before I just play you that episode where we just hit the record button and just talked for 20 odd minutes, there's one thing I really want to say, because there's a point in the podcast where I'm talking about social media and influencers and stuff like that, and I couldn't think of the right story, and I am going on a tangent on something else. But with the benefit of editing this podcast, I'm able to tell you that exact story, and I've linked the description to this story in the podcast notes up near the very top. And basically, I'm not going to spoil it on you, but here's pretty much the headline of that article. It reads: reality TV stars audition to promote poison diet drink on Instagram. Yep, I'm going to read that one more time in case you didn't hear it right. Reality TV stars auditioned to promote poison diet drink on Instagram. Completely insane. It's all about Blind Boy Boat Club had a new TV show on BBC Three where he went undercover and he got 3 influencers to pretty much promote cyanide. Sounds mad, but go to the link, read the article, and then watch the video. You will not believe it, and that's what's driving me absolutely insane with social media influencers. Not that the other story I talk about this podcast didn't drive me insane either, but that's the key one as far as I'm concerned over the last couple of months anyway. And with that said, guys, enjoy the show. If you do enjoy this kind of bonus episode where we just kind of like shoot the breeze, let us know on the Instagram comments. Let us know by putting a review on the podcast page, or DM us, or whatever it is, at Any Given Runday Official on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you for sharing the podcast and your stories, and that's pretty much it. Enjoy the show. Hey guys, Seán here. Welcome to another episode of the Any Given Runday Podcast. We're on episode 9. I'm once again joined by Eric, Aaron, Connor, and the fourth guy is myself. Before we get started in this week's podcast, the end of last week's podcast,
annoyed.
Well, I'm annoyed because the fact that I hadn't got everything rolling and recording on this one. And the reason I'm annoyed was we talked at length. And it's probably a good thing because it was a long podcast, around 30 minutes, talking about our different supplement and what we talk about, Epsom salt baths and all the rest. And if you're not too sure what I'm talking about, go back and listen to last week's episode. And if you listen to it with a bit of a skeptical mind, well, once I hit stop and we finished recording, we thank you for listening to the podcast. Someone said
within a second.
Well, as soon as I hit stop, it was, I don't really believe in all that. And you probably thought, well, why did Aaron just come in and say that? That was me paraphrasing Aaron. Aaron, what is going on there? Like, and genuinely, you're not a big fan of multivitamins and all the rest. And because you said it, just to set yourself up a little bit here, because you thought like that, there's probably other people who are thinking the same, going, lads, are you just plugging stuff or what's going on? So Aaron, what was your thoughts on last week's podcast?
I don't know, like, I don't know, the salt thing, salt in a bath, okay.
Epsom salts.
Epsom salt.
Salt
I like, to be honest, I'm very skeptical about, I don't know, do multivitamins work? Are you taking enough nutrients already in your food that you're already eating? Like, do you really necessarily need these multivitamins? Okay. This salt bath with magnesium, like, I don't know, is magnesium good or bad for you? I really don't know about that now, in fairness. Like, I don't know personally. I haven't checked it out.
But you wouldn't go out of your way to try it?
I'm skeptical. Like, the thing is, like, okay, I try something, okay, it might work out for me in the first couple of weeks, and I'm just like, okay, is this actually positive for me? Or, like, down the road, like, oh, is this going to be a big problem? Okay.
To put into context, for people wondering why you're skeptical, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, you come for you have this business background, that this kind of little bit of a marketing back. Would that come into it where you're like, everything's just marketing to you, or am I well off to mark out with that?
Well, no, it's kind of like, I just think sometimes like that, where you're, okay, this works, oh, I'll keep using that, and it's not really helping you. Like, you're not really either,
you haven't got to the root of the problem.
Yeah, like stuff like that. And I like protein shakes, like, I don't know, like, they do work in certain instances, but then, like, if you're already eating that much protein anyway in your meal, you don't necessarily need to take this protein.
I would agree with you. I think supplements are, and I didn't say this last week, but supplements are the last 10%, that last little bit, rather than the main bit.
Isn't that why they're called that?
Supplements.
Exactly, they're to supplement your lifestyle.
Yes, but some people would use it as the go-to, as the band-aid to their bad nutrition, rather than to aid a good lifestyle. To what you're saying, Aaron, am I right in saying that? Am I with you there?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I'm just very skeptical of some of these products, like, especially some of the random products that come out on Facebook or Instagram these days.
Wish.com, yeah.
That's like, you see these pair of, like, Ray-Ban sunglasses for 15 euro that your friend has posted, like.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think I can absolutely agree to a certain extent with what Aaron's saying. I mean, you can get very bogged down in just, as we're looking for the next big product that's going to make all your pains and aches go away, and I think there's plenty of them out there. I mean, there are certain things from a recovery standpoint that I don't buy into or I don't use. There's a lot of athletes that swear by compression clothing directly after exercise.
Yes.
That's not something that I utilise. But in the same way, I mean, if you talk about the Epsom salt baths, being useful for relieving sore muscles, that's scientifically proven. Magnesium sulfate is it's a mineral that supports that process. So in my mind, it works, and it's backed by science. On the opposite side of that, and we talked about CBD oil, that's something I use to support sleep, and it's something that I find works for me, but at the same time I see it marketed as it does this, that and the other, and I don't use it for those things. I use it specifically before I go to bed to help me sleep, and it seems to work fine. I've kind of gone through a process of isolating it to see if it works properly for me, but at the same time, do I think it's a placebo? Perhaps, and you spoke about that, Seán. Is it just that it's something that makes you feel comfortable, or was it Eric said it, that it's just something that makes you feel comfortable and kind of puts in that frame of mind? Perhaps. But when I think about when I think about supplements in general from a recovery standpoint, you can't put a band-aid on a broken leg. It is all about having a really good base first and foremost, and as you said, Seán, the supplements and the products, they are the last kind of the 5-10% to get you across the line.
Aaron was talking there, and he was reminding me of something, and I was racking my head. I was trying to listen to you, but also racking my head on, there was something that came up recently that was reminding me of Aaron talking about, like, the BS of supplements and some things, some people going at it, and it clicked me. I saw an article by a guy in first training who was slating someone else, and I hate to slate people. I always think each to their own, you do you, if that works for you, whatever. but sometimes it's like there's marketing and money behind this, and this is the top of it. I'm going to say 2 words and I'll see if you can relate to this. Meat patch. Anyone any idea what that is?
Is it like a Nicorette patch that gives you your meat fixed?
It sounds
He's
like that.
dead right. He's dead right. Right, I heard this.
Joking.
I thought this was a Water for Whispers thing. Seemingly now, and once again, I hate to do names and stuff. He's probably making a lot of money off it. I don't know the guy. I didn't watch the show personally, but seemingly, I even feel bad talking about names and stuff, but I have to talk about this. Your man Tyson Fury. But no, not his brother is on Love Island, and genuinely, if you watch it, fair enough. I've never watched an episode, can't tell you it's good, bad, and different. Don't know, don't care, not the point. He posted up a thing wearing a meat patch, and I had to look up his Instagram to see it, and I saw it. It was like meat patch, blah blah. It would the exact same work like Nicorette. If you're struggling to avoid having meat, wear this meat patch, and you will not crave bacon.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
105,000 people like this Instagram post, and he's probably getting paid a lot of money through it. So I know not to put that in the same boat at all with Epsom salt baths or anything else or CBD oil or anything like that, but there are things out there, to Aaron's credit, that are just there to make money off people. I'm sure if I sat back and thought about it, I could rattle off 10 or 12 things, even putting the word protein on everything. It's like, that's going to be healthier. Like Weetabix
milk.
Weetabix, well, I mean, yeah, because milk already has protein in it, but there's different things like that you might be able to argue. But Weetabix protein, who in their right mind gets their protein amount in the morning from Weetabix, an extra 1 gram or 2 of protein? That's all it is, isn't it?
The best product I saw doing that is I don't know if we can say it now to slate them, but it's a
absolutely.
Are we turning into that?
Go for it. Right.
We did well in the first 9 episodes without slating. Are we slating now?
At least if they sue us, we can get famous.
So we'll start by saying this is a personal opinion, you know.
Conor Nolan's opinions not reflect that of Any Given Runday.
At least if they sue him, we
We're
can get a good day out.
Go with it, son.
Right, so
Any given court day.
Season 2. Go.
It's now I'm nervous now. It's a it's a product by a very well known chocolate manufacturer. Is that where we're going to go?
Oh, is this the sugarless dairy milk?
No, he's going straight into Mars protein, aren't you? I knew it.
Actually, it was Boost Protein, but
Boost Protein,
yeah, you know the Boost bars, and they
Yeah.
released it was a Boost Protein bars, and I tried a couple of them before, and they taste worse than a Boost bar, first of all, but also when you go and look at the actual nutritional information at the back, the level of sugar and calorie from the bar is so high that like it offsets the minute little bit of protein that you would actually get from it anyway.
People think because you're having a protein bar, you're getting healthier. It's like, oh, I'm going to have a protein bar, but you're adding extra. Now, some protein bars can be good, but you got to realise you're still adding an extra 200-300 calories.
Yeah.
Sometimes 4 onto your meal, and to get that extra protein into it, they have to add other stuff into it as well to get to that amount. Now, if you're using it as a part of your 2,000 calories, you could argue that it's okay for you, but
then you're missing a good meal.
You missed a good meal. That's 20%.
Breakfast.
Exactly. That's 20% of your thing gone on just getting 10 grams of protein, where you could have got 10 grams of protein in a boiled egg, maybe 2 boiled eggs, 6-7 grams in a boiled egg,
Yeah,
depends on the size of it.
Yeah.
But you could have got that with all the vitamins and minerals that come with egg, rather than getting
And
it
only
from
135 calories or something.
something along those lines. A lot less calories, but you're still getting the amount of protein. Instead of consuming 400 calories and only getting 10 grams of protein, it's like, where am I going to get the other 80-90 grams? Depends on what kind of diet and stuff you're on. Out of only 1,600 calories, you're really limiting yourself there. So it obviously that comes back down to calories in, calories out, but it comes back down to marketing, throwing protein on it, throwing low fat stuff on a while was, oh, it's low fat, it must be healthier. My mum always bought low fat milk because she thought it was healthier than full fat.
But this is it, like, and even a couple of years
Sorry,
ago,
man.
it's the last time your mother ever makes you a cup of tea.
Just like to point out Sean's opinion of his mum or his own.
But if you remember a couple of years ago, everyone went through a phase of, oh, it's gluten free, it's
Yes.
you know, it's healthy, you know, and people missed the point completely, and this, you know, eating gluten free products, you know, thinking that, oh, that was fine, I can eat as much of this as I want because it's gluten free and that's okay. But in reality, they were, you know, taking in double the amount of calories because they're eating twice as much because they thought it was, you know, twice as healthy.
And people were having, and they were having, so some products had to be gluten free because people are celiac, and that's 100% grand, no bother. But some people are eating gluten free and saying they're gluten free because they say they're being healthier. and they were having more calories. Sometimes you have a regular muffin and a gluten-free muffin, and you can argue that neither are good for you, but some people are like, gluten-free muffin, that's out there for me, and I'll have that. And it's not, it might be more calories, and it might defeat your overall purpose, which is for a lot of people is weight loss, fat loss, and that thing's like right.
Or do you ever see like something that's advertised as gluten-free, but like the actual version anyway is gluten-free?
You're not surprised. I can't think of an example.
It's like milk or something like that. I don't know. I've seen something in the shop and I was like, where's the wheat in this anyway?
Yeah, isn't that gluten-free?
Gluten-free eggs, yeah.
Gluten-free eggs, the best kind. But everything in moderation is the key thing that I find. Like, we're talking about people are saying, like, we're saying you eat a protein bar. There's days if I'm doing a big session with a swim cycle, I'll burn nearly 6,000 calories in that day. To eat that amount of good food, I would say, like our eggs. How many eggs would you have to eat? How many of this would you have to eat? Breads, the whole lot. Sometimes when you get to those guys, and this is why some athletes you will see with their gels and this and that, they're getting in the calories that they have overburned, like their body is running on empty. And that's when I suppose it's okay to go, okay, I can have a muffin which is really high in calories and sugar because you've in excess of 4,000 calories on your day.
Exactly. I mean, look, Michael Phelps and Usain Bolt, prime examples. Exactly. I mean, Phelps was burning 12,000 calories a day or something like that.
Usain Bolt eats chicken nuggies, so I can eat chicken nuggies.
Yeah, it's like, but you are not Usain Bolt. You're not burning that many calories a day. So it's just, I suppose, about people think that they go for a quick swim and jump into the sauna and they've done 40 minutes work and they're going, right, that's grand, I've earned that Domino's pizza or whatever it is because Phelps does it, and that's how I operate. Bring it right the way back to doing what makes you feel good and what works for you. It's all about being able to tailor these routines and these these kind of activities to yourself and your own training, and that's really the important part.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of labelling food good and bad because of certain situations where that pizza, you just enjoy it.
I talk about more from for example, if you're going out and you're doing a long run, you burn 600 calories, but then you spend the rest of the day eating Domino's pizza and Doritos and you end up with a calorie surplus of 3,000 calories.
Exactly. But you're that's bad because you're defeating your calorie surplus. You're defeating your purpose of what you want to do. But saying that whole a pizza is always bad for you. Now, pizza is always going to have a lot of calories for you, but let's say one day you do not eat the whole day for whatever reason, you get home at night and you have a 1,000 calorie pizza. You're not getting all the vitamins and minerals in the world, and that's where your supplements come in sometimes, but you're still in a 1,000 calorie deficit for the day, and you should probably eat more food. And it's all to over a 24-hour period, or even looking at it as a whole week on what your calories are rather than each specific meal. And then people get bogged down on that in terms of everything has to be right 100%. That's a lot of pressure on yourself. If you're like, I can never have a pizza, I can never have a chocolate bar, that's tough. And when you do break, you feel like crap, and then that's the slide you go down.
And if anyone listens like me, my emotions are through food. If I'm happy, I'll eat. If I'm sad, I will eat more. it's like everything is like, I do like my food, and I find by doing all this running and burning all, it just gives me an excuse to eat more food that I like. But everyone has those days where you've had a rough day, someone's called you a name, things didn't go well, and again it's about how you feel. Like sometimes Domino's pizza, tub of Ben and Jerry's and a good chick flick and I'm crying away there, that's what I need to get on to, okay, put that behind myself, feel sorry for myself there for a day, and then you get back into the training. Because a lot of people find as well is that snowball effect turns into an avalanche. Oh sure, I've had a biscuit with my coffee, sure the day is ruined. Now I'm going to have this for lunch, now I'm going to have that for dinner, and before you know it you feel sluggish the next day. We'll just have it.
Or we've had 3 takeaways this week so far, so
John, let's just write off the week.
It's only Monday.
But John, I remember Seán, you saying something similar to me, because obviously you as part of your personal training, you advocate for an 80-20 lifestyle. I remember you saying to me one day, because I passed a comment not dissimilar to that I'd kind of ruined the day or ruined the week by doing something, and you said, look, if you look at yourself as like you're a car, like your machine, right? The equivalent of eating a takeaway is it's you've burst a tire, you've a flat tire. Now imagine going around and slashing the 3 tires. It's it's counterproductive to think that way. The best you can do is acknowledge that, okay, well, either it's fit into your 80-20 lifestyle or you've had a little bit of a slip up. But that downward slide is it's unnecessary if you're doing it deliberately because you think you've ruined everything else.
Yeah, it's everything in perspective. And just the last 2-3 minutes of the podcast, because I think this is the very first podcast where we've gone through 17-18 minutes and we haven't really mentioned running at all, but to fill it in a little bit,
Yes.
we were talking, Eric, you were talking about there sometimes good days, bad days, eating a little bit more, eat a bit less, and then kind of 2-3 episodes ago you talked about angry runs to make yourself feel better. Have you guys got to the point of using running as therapy?
Running is the greatest therapy. That is we've talked about the baths, the episodes, you're relaxing, you're switching your mind off. But there's been days, and people, I don't know, everyone's situation is different, and I've got involved with Nature Triathlon Club and I'm doing a lot of runs and swims with other people. But when you're out doing your run and it's you and a couple of people, if you're on an easy one and you can chat, you've switched off to all the bad that's happened in the day. Or if there was something, you're able to talk about it running. But the anger, them angry runs, when you exert yourself, that anger dissipates. It's like a way of getting rid of it. When you do an hour-long run, you haven't got a lot of energy to go punching walls and screaming and this and that. And if you do, fair play, run more. But it's for me, it's the best kind of headspace that I can, something that might annoy. I'm the one that will do a post-mortem on every conversation. Oh, I can't believe I said that and this and that, and I'll overthink everything. But then when I go for a run, it's just an opportunity to switch off.
Yeah.
All you're worrying about, what pace am I at? What heart rate am I in? How far have I gone? You know, and what's that over there? When you start to get more comfortable, you're just taking it all in on the run, and Jesus, not as cold today. Random things come into your head, you just switch off, and it is the greatest therapy. And then when I do that, I don't feel as bad or as sad or as angry as I did. Or people say, and there's a lot of laid back people, but everyone has feelings, everyone has emotions, and someone could have put you down in work and stuff, and that can have the effect of the snowball that we have. That if you let that 5-minute period, and it is, I am a culprit for it, that 5-minute period of my day ruining the other minutes of the day, which there are a lot more than 5.
Yeah.
But by just getting through the process of shoes, shorts, out onto your run, then I can kind of deal with that, and then I feel better that, you know what, even though that part of the day wasn't good, I still got my run in actually, and the times were a little bit better, and then you're reinstilling that positive feeling in yourself, because that's what we're all doing this, we're doing it together, and we've had a lot of people text us and say it's great to see. But once you can reinstill that positive in yourself, you will be able, I have found that I am able to manage all the other hard, stressful, sad, happy occasions in the day, and it's important, and it's acknowledging whether it's food or your emotions or the snowball effect that can happen, and again it all comes back down to the mindset we keep talking about as well. It really helps keep a good mindset in your life, in your everyday activities. 100%.
It's definitely helped me in my stress levels anyway. If I've been struggling with work, whatever, I in that run, and I can't explain it, it just helps me think a little bit clearer, and I kind of switch off for a while and concentrate, like you say, on your pace or whatever, and all of a sudden something comes back in my mind, it's like, why did you not do this way? Like, oh yeah, I have to go home now. and keep on running from there. So that was a very productive episode of the podcast, I thought. Thank you very much, Aaron, for saying something when we hit stop. Now, I'm about to say that, say goodbye to everyone and thank you for listening and all the rest. Is there anything in these last 20 minutes that you thought, I don't really agree with that one, Seán? Is there anything you want to let the people know about? Or
I think running is stressful.
I just think,
are you stressed when you run? Are you more stressed?
no, it can relax me a bit, like, in fairness. And it actually probably gives me better sleep that night. And in fairness, it's nearly harder to wake up the next day, but sure, whatever.
So you might make it to work the next day, you might lose your job, but damn, you got a good run in the
Well, at least you got a
Felt
good
very
sleep.
sad about it.
That's it.
I'd just like to say running leads to unemployment.
I just like to say as well, Seán, my accent, like, you have got it to a T. Like, in fairness.
We might get a couple of complaints saying that there's two people sound the exact same. Seán, dial it back. The accent and stuff, it's too good. It's too après match right there. It's just a bit too much right there. Not a bombshell.
Live there, so.
For the record, that wasn't me. I'm not that good at accents there saying that. Well, thanks, Eric. Thank you once again for listening to this week's episode of the Any Given Runday podcast. Thank you once again for sharing, for commenting on our Instagram stories and all the questions and stuff you're asking. Really, really do appreciate it. We have reached We are over the halfway mark now towards our Madrid marathon, and we are feeling so good about these next 8 weeks, lads, aren't we?
Absolutely.
What a lack of enthusiasm right there, Aaron. And on that note, thank you once again for listening to the podcast, lads. Anything else to add?
No. Cheers.
Anything?
No, no.
Going once, going twice.
Alright, guys, come on, get it over with.
Thanks, lads. Take care.